When I was about 21 years old, I met this dude in college who was getting ready to graduate and ride his bike across the country on the TransAmerica Trail. At the time, I was a 245-pound middle linebacker playing college football, and I had never even considered riding a bike for exercise, let alone riding one across the country. But an adventure like that sounded absolutely incredible, and at that moment, I knew it was something I wanted to do one day. After college, I bought a used cyclocross bike on Craigslist and started to ride for fitness. I did a few triathlons, I got really big into gravel racing and mountain biking, but the whole reason I got into cycling in the first place was to do a cross-country trip. But the problem was time. Like most people, after college, I got a job, I started coaching high school football, and basically for the past 13 years, my summers have been jam-packed with football activities. Well, after 13 years of coaching high school football, I finally decided that it was time to step away from the game that had given me so much to pursue other ventures. It was finally time to ride my bike from Missouri to Oregon on the TransAmerica Trail. Prior to this trip, my experience with bike touring was limited to a few short trips on the Katy Trail, and when I did those trips, I used a traditional bike touring setup with panniers. For this trip, I wanted the setup to be as light as possible. I would bring only what I needed and nothing more. I wanted to use my Cervelo Aspero gravel bike, which is a lightweight carbon fiber gravel race bike. This bike does not have mounts for racks, so I would need to invest in some bike packing bags. I went with the waterproof Ortlieb bike packing bags, all of which I either got on sale or lightly used on Pink Bike or eBay. For a tent, I went with the Big Agnes Copper Spur 2-person bike packing tent, which I stored on the front of the bike, and for a sleeping pad, I used the Nemo Tensor Trail Ultralight, which I stored in the frame bag. For a sleeping bag, I used a Nemo down bag that was super packable and a compression sack, which I stored in the seat post bag. I invested in some wool clothing items, brought 2 pairs of bibs, some riding gear for cool conditions, a camp stove, titanium cook pot with butane, charging cords, toiletries, some bike tools, 3 26-ounce bottles of water, and essentially that was it. The bike weighed 47 pounds fully loaded. For this trip, I would be riding from the Missouri-Kansas border to Astoria, Oregon on the TransAmerica Trail. There are free maps you can get online and download to your GPS computer, but I decided to purchase my maps through the Adventure Cycling Association, and I was so glad I did this. When you purchase your maps through this organization, you also get information on where resources are along the route, including things like campgrounds, bike shops, grocery stores, etc. This resource proved to be invaluable to me as the trip went on. Basically, the only planning that went into this trip was the gear and bike setup. I had the route downloaded on my computer, but besides that, I had no real plan. I was going to take it day by day. I'm a high school teacher, and after the last day of school, Kim took me to the Missouri-Kansas border near Pittsburgh, Kansas, so I could begin the trip. And I'll be honest, this was a bit of an emotional time for both her and I. She was obviously worried about me, and I was anxious. I'm 37 years old, and I've been dreaming about this trip since college. The time had finally come. And a big shout out to Kim Ye for her support through all of this. Kim, I love you. On day 1, I got a late start, so I only did 64 miles, but it was good to shake off the nerves and get familiar with unpacking the bike and setting up camp. I did bring a bike lock with me, but I'm super paranoid about my bike, so a lot of the time I would actually store the bike under one of the tent vestibules as I slept. By day 2, I had kind of settled into the ride a bit. I enjoyed eastern Kansas. I passed through a lot of small towns that really give you all those Americana feels. That being said, day 2 was a big day. I did 140 miles, and honestly, my morale was a bit low, but as I was looking for a place to camp in Newton, Kansas, Lefty rolls up in the van to surprise me, and then Reese came the next morning.
Yo, Lefty, what up?
Hey!
Reese boy Fowler, what's good?
Somebody had to carry this boy through the TransAmerica.
These boys are gonna pull me through these nasty headwinds that we're gonna see today for the first half. How cool is this? I am so unbelievably stoked that these guys are here. Freaking amazing friends.
We are really good.
This was a massive morale booster for me, and I wasn't loving the tire choice I had made for the trip, but Lefty happened to have a Pathfinder Pro in his van, and Reese brought another one, so I was able to swap tires. These rolled much better. We got pizza and tall boys at Casey's where they had dropped the car, and this really raised my spirits. 2 of my best friends were the first of many trail angels I would encounter on this trip. That night, I camped at this awesome little church campground for cyclists that John and Donna oversee. The first few nights of the trip, I didn't have access to a shower, so I would basically fill my water bottles with water and shower that way. It did the job. The next day, I was overtaken with emotions out of nowhere, and this actually happened a few times on this trip.
So I'm gonna get off here, but one more thing. Lefty, he sent me a text yesterday. Fuck. He sent me a text yesterday about being tough and doing hard things, and I'm shit. Well, I'm getting emotional. I'm kind of cleaning up my tent and stuff, and I'm thinking about my mom and dad. And not everybody has the ability. I think they have the ability, but doesn't know how to be tough and do hard things. And I'm freaking lucky, man, that I had parents that I got. I'm crying on the internet. I have two parents who are just freaking tough ass people, and they instilled that in me. So, thank you.
I guess bike tours tend to have this effect on people. If I'm being completely honest, Western Kansas sucks, and I was ready to get to Colorado. I met this guy out on the road.
This is Per from Sweden.
Yeah.
And he's back here doing the TransAmerica Trail. It's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
So Per had actually started the TransAmerica Trail the year before, but his mother got sick, so he had to fly home and be with her. So then he was back this year to finish what he had started, so that was really cool to see.
I'll tell you one thing for certain. After this trip, I'm going to have a taint made of absolute steel. I don't think there's going to be a single nerve left alive in that thing.
I got a tasty burger at this place, and anytime I saw a burger joint that looked like this, I made it a point to stop.
I am in Tribune, Kansas. Got my trusty backpack here. And one of these is coming with me to the campground. Which one do I want? Dude, let's do it. Bud Heavy, let's go.
I said, right when you told me you walked that far, I've been like, if I could.
Yeah, they don't sell beer on Sundays. Oh.
After a lot of mostly flat miles and decent winds, I made it to Colorado. I didn't know where I was going to sleep that night, but luckily there was a church hostel not far from the state line. I was doing a massively big day and craving an ice cold tall boy, but because some counties in Kansas are still stuck in the 1960s, they don't sell booze on Sundays. So after crossing into Colorado, I came up on this little shop I was hoping had booze.
Self-serve store. Okay, so this is not a gas station. This is just, I wonder if this is just a place for cyclists or...
This turned out to be just a little self-serve store, and I'm glad I was not abducted by aliens. It all worked out though because the church I was staying at actually didn't allow booze, so it was all good. And this is crazy. Jim, the pastor of this church, who had actually moved from KC, used to ride with my buddy JP in KC. So what a small world. That was absolutely crazy. That was a 195-mile day, so it was nice to not have to set up camp.
Good morning from this amazing sleep cave that I experienced last night with two fans. I actually am waking up feeling somewhat rested, but my body is absolutely smoked right now. The mileage so far on this trip has been 65, 140, 119, and then 195 yesterday. I'm in pretty good shape. I have good fitness as far as endurance cycling goes, but that's not sustainable. But that was kind of the whole plan. Get across Kansas quickly and then have more time experiencing the other areas that I haven't seen and kind of make this an actual bike tour where I take a little bit more time. The next big town is Pueblo. I don't think I'll get there today though. There's a town before that. It's like 80 miles away. My taint feels like someone took a blowtorch to it. But besides that and sore legs, I think we can make it 80 miles today.
Eastern Colorado was fine, but honestly, it was very similar to Western Kansas. There are a lot of cowboys here and some cool little towns, though. At one point, a pretty substantial storm rolled in, and I hunkered down under some railroad tracks to wait it out.
All right, the winds just picked up, like drastically. I think it's about to storm pretty good here. I'm so glad I came up on one of these bridges. Bikes underneath it. I feel like this thing's been here since like the 1800s, so it feels solid. Let's ride it out, baby!
One thing I will never do after this trip is take water and power for granted. I never knew when I would be able to get water to shower or have access to power, so any chance I got to charge my stuff, I would. Oftentimes, that would be when I sat down to eat somewhere. And the Philly cheesesteak at this gas station was incredible. Those storms continued through the night, which made for an interesting camping experience.
So I repositioned my body. I'm laying on the other end of the tent now. Oh, shit. Just because that side down there is kind of like... Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. I have... And everything I have with me for this trip, I've put inside the tent. The only thing not inside the tent, you can see my bibs that I washed when I took my shower with the water bottles earlier. They're outside. I kind of tied those to the bench, and then the bike is right there. But everything else is inside.
I eventually made my way to Pueblo, Colorado, which is honestly kind of a rough town, but Great Divide Bikes is an awesome shop, and I'm glad I stopped because I needed new pads before I got into the mountains.
All right, we're at Great Divide Bikes. Hey, what's your name?
Bones.
This is Bones. Bones. He's the guy that hangs out at the shop. This is Nick. Nick's the owner. This place is awesome. So I needed new brake pads, or pads on the front. There was some rubbing with the rotor. He's getting me squared away. And they got chamois butter. They don't have a 5-gallon drum of chamois butter, but they got a big tube, which I'm going to pick up. So this is pretty awesome here in Pueblo.
Then I met these wonderful people at this Mexican place before leaving town.
I met Les and Carol here at Jose's, and they're hearing all about my trip, and pretty cool.
Yeah, good luck. Have a great time.
This is what's fun about stuff like this, is meeting people like them. So thank you.
I didn't know it until after I left, but they actually paid for my meal. At this point, I was beginning to learn. This trip is about more than riding my bike and camping. This trip was becoming about the people I was encountering along the way. Once I left Pueblo, the climbing really started. I rolled by Florence Prison, which is home to some of the most infamous prisoners in the world. It was a cold, dreary day, so this kind of gave me an eerie feeling. I finally made it to Canyon City, Colorado. It was late and I was cold, so I went to Arby's to figure out my life. I hadn't planned on getting hotels on this trip, but I caved in and got a cheap hotel for the night. Guys, thanks for checking out part 1 of this incredible journey. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel and stay posted for the rest of the trip, because I promise you it's about to get even crazier. So I just took my first real shower in 6 days, and I cannot tell you how good it felt. Best shower I've ever taken, hands down. You can see here my head, the spots where the creases on my helmet or the openings on my helmet are, and there's like nothing here from the headband. So that's going to be gnarly. But look at this hotel room right now. I kind of just got everything scattered out, got stuff drying. I washed the shirt from today. I washed the bibs. I'm going to hang those in the shower. Got some stuff that was wet hanging here. Kind of got the bag scattered all over, but I'm going to work on this video and then get some sleep, and then try to wake up earlier tomorrow morning than I did today and get moving earlier so I can be done sooner.